You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters.
Welcome, fellow stargazers. The sisters are in the house. Jude, are you there?
I am here, Sarah. So good to see you.
Yeah, it is awesome. Episode 13 is where we're at, and we're looking at Sunday, December 5th through Saturday, December 11th. I can't believe we're in December already, but there's a lot going on. What do you want to do? What do you want to start?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, this week is post-eclipse. So you might be feeling, which was a new moon in Sagittarius, which was conjunct the great attractor.
Oh, yes.
So you might be feeling a little worn out, actually, as we start. Hopefully you had a bit of a respite over the weekend to kind of gather yourselves.
We're going to need it.
It doesn't stop, folks. This week, at the end of this week, we have Venus conjunct Pluto on Saturday the 11th. But before we get there, I mean, it's within orb now, and it was within orb at the time of the eclipse.
What does within orb mean?
So within orb means that Venus is approaching Pluto as the week opens on the 5th. She's at 23 degrees. Pluto's at 25. They're not exact until Venus reaches, Venus is the faster moving planet, until she reaches Pluto at 25 degrees, 11 minutes. So they're approaching.
Okay.
But 2 degrees, they're within orb. So it's like, being close to somebody, but not hugging. Like a conjunction would be like a hug, right?
Got it.
Yeah. And Venus is like, hugging the Lord of the underworld.
Gotcha.
That's what she's coming to. She's approaching. She's coming in for the hug on Saturday the 11th.
She's coming in for the hug. Is it short for orbit, or is it just it's within orb is sort of the expression?
Orb is like the aura of the planet.
Okay.
So within orb means that it's very close. Within influence, I guess orb could also, instead of saying orb, you could say they're influencing one another. The Venus is within 2 degrees of Pluto. So there's the beginning of a sense that you might be feeling this energy of some hard truth is being revealed, or that, your sensibility of what is kind and good and beautiful and truthful is coming up against some hard, cold reality of what is not.
That's happening on Saturday, but we can begin that there's some other aspects happening that we're going to start feeling into that.
You may be feeling that now as the week opens, because Venus is so close within orb, 2 degrees, approaching a hug.
Right. Great analogy.
The other thing that's happening early in the week on Monday is that the moon is at 22 degrees Capricorn. And so that is almost making a conjunction to Venus at 23 Capricorn, and then making a conjunction to Pluto at 25 Capricorn. So the moon is coming through this part of the chart on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
You may be able to feel that there's something that's this deeper level that you will be able to access, that you'll be able to acknowledge.
Right.
It has to do with compassion and with love, because it's not something that you may really want to see.
Yeah.
Like Pluto is really ugly sometimes. I mean, it's the underworld, it's death, it's dying, it's decay. It's the compost pile, it's the compost bucket. It's the bucket that you throw all those food scraps in, and like, you got to open that thing up and pour more food scraps in there. And it's like, that is really disgusting. It smells, it's gross,
There's
stuff
flies.
is slimy.
Yeah.
There's weird, critters in there. You just don't want to look, right? It's enough sometimes to really turn your stomach. Like if you really get into it and start looking at it and go, well, that's really gross. But Venus coming through is trying to make sense of this ugliness.
Okay.
And this decay.
Yeah, because she's beauty and truth and honesty and grace and compassion. Yeah.
Love, compassion. So she's trying to make the most of this conjunction with Pluto. the moon coming through there on Monday is going to it's going to really make us sensitive to this early in the week. And then as the week progresses, there's some other aspects that are going to have us kind of wondering if what we saw was really real.
Okay.
On the same day, we have Mercury square Neptune. There's confusion, there's misperception. Did we really see all that ugliness in there? Is there some deceit going on? Has the wool been pulled over our eyes?
That's the Neptune side of
Yes.
What's going on
Yes.
behind the curtain? Okay.
It can also be, though, that if you have a really good sense of things, and if you're very well grounded, that this square from Mercury to Neptune can give you a sense of being able to open up the lid of something and look in and get a little bit of a grasp on reality.
Okay.
You may not have the whole picture. You may not see it all, but you can see enough to kind of get maybe a handle on things, but then you're really not sure if you've really got a handle on it or not. So you close the lid back down.
Okay.
On Wednesday, there's a sense that people might be feisty, they might be pushy, they might be ready for a fight.
All right.
The moon is going to be in Aquarius. It's all about kind of freedom versus stability. And the moon is feeling I want to be stable. I really have this need to hold on to something and be stable. But the moon's in Aquarius, which is not stable. It's not a feeling place for the moon.
So a word for the early week could be caution.
And just be very aware. There's no need to react, but I think that if we kind of just are noticing, just notice how you feel.
Okay.
I think we'll go a long way.
And this is not the week to skip the meditative practices or a little yoga quiet time.
And even if you did, just a few minutes at a time, not taking an hour, not taking 20 minutes even, but just a few minutes to check in.
Right. This Venus-Pluto conjunction has been something we've been looking at for a little while. We've been mentioning Venus is coming towards Pluto, Venus is coming towards Pluto, and it's going to stay this way for a little while.
It meets up with Pluto 3 times. So this is not a lightweight thing that we're looking at right now, that we're being asked to look at.
Okay.
It's really about acknowledging some truth that we may not have wanted to acknowledge.
Yeah.
And because it's in Capricorn, it's going to affect how we see the structure of our lives.
Yeah.
So everything about the way our lives are structured, whether it's 9 to 5, whether it's top down, whether it's remote, whether it's in transportation, healthcare, government, banking, education, you name it, how we've set up our systems, that's Capricorn. That's systems mind. The way that everything works will be up for review because things are not working.
And that's where it could feel combative because the way you see something differs from the way someone else sees something. Who is right? Where is the truth? And Venus is asking us to come at this with some compassion, diplomacy, understanding, empathy, because it really is a meeting of opposites. The Venus and the Pluto coming together.
Yes. Pluto's is about as dark as you can get. There are a few other planets and asteroids that all the planets have a shadow side, but Pluto pretty much lives there all the time.
Right.
The higher octave of Pluto is the appropriate use of power. But basically, Pluto deals with the subconscious, the unconscious, the parts of us that have been programmed,
right,
that are kind of running underneath things. And Pluto in Capricorn is about being able to take those structures and break them down because they're not serving. They're not serving us. So this has been a long haul for Pluto in Capricorn. It's getting to the end of its trek. It's at 25 degrees. There's another year or so left.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hovering,
right,
through 2022. This is kind of a slow process, and it affects a large group. It affects the world, basically. This is not a personal planet. Pluto
right,
is not, it affects more or less, it affects generations. It's got a 250 some odd year orbit.
right.
So it's slow moving. It affects the lives of nations, basically, more than our individual lives.
Yeah.
With Pluto in Capricorn, it is about how we've built our culture, how we've built our society, and how that is really up for some kind of renewal.
So I guess for a tool for the week, what do we do when we're confronted with a truth that may be disturbing, enlightening, encouraging, discouraging, and it's not private, it's public and collective? I think we had a quote from Pema Chodron that you thought would be appropriate.
Yes.
To kind of help us keep in mind when, as we enter, because this is an entering kind of this time, and it's going to last for several weeks.
And actually a couple of months. I mean, if we take it
into the new
right
year,
out through the end of February.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a short reading here from the Pocket Pema Chodron. And this is called Sharing the Heart, and appropriate because of Venus and her conjunction to Pluto, and talking about things that we may not want to face or acknowledge. She begins, sharing the heart is a simple practice that can be used at any time and in every situation. It enlarges our view and helps us remember our interconnection. The essence of this practice is that when we encounter pain in our life, we breathe into our heart with the recognition that others also feel this. It's a way of acknowledging when we are closing down and of training to open up. When we encounter any pleasure or tenderness in our life, we cherish that and rejoice. Then we make the wish that others could also experience this delight or this relief. In a nutshell, when life is pleasant, think of others. When life is a burden, think of others. If this is the only training we ever remember to do, it will benefit us tremendously and everyone else as well. It's a way of bringing whatever we encounter onto the path of awakening bodhicitta. I'm just thinking about acknowledging the pain, acknowledging the joy, and just sitting with it, that it's...
Well, we're not in this alone. We are a species on a planet dealing with all these issues at different levels. If we can remember to be with each other, we are going through this together. So it's more sort of like, what can we bring to the table? What can we offer each other?
Sharing the heart is the title. So in order to share it, you have to keep it open. So whether it's pain or whether it's pleasure that you're feeling, just to keep it open and letting that feeling flow through you, not to hold on to it, I think is the biggest takeaway that I have for this.
Yeah.
Between the end of the eclipse cycle, which started mid-November, this new moon eclipse on the 4th, and then there's a full moon eclipse on the 18th.
Yeah.
There's a lot of touchstones in December for opening up.
We had mentioned a couple episodes back Louise Hay, who's sort of a positive affirmation bestseller, and she also has a series of little daily cards of affirmations, and one that I pulled today, which seems appropriate and in line with the Pema Chodron reading. It's an affirmation that says, "I only give out that which I wish to receive in return. My love and acceptance of others is mirrored to me in every moment." So again, this like thinking of kind of how you would want to be treated in a situation and treating others as you would wish to be treated, remembering that we're all in this together.
Yeah, that's it.
We will be continuing this conversation through December, so hope this is useful for this week, and don't forget to tune in next week for the next installment.
Don't skip the yoga.
Of what's on the horizon with Sister Stargazers. Well, thank you. That's a lot of research you're doing and sort of putting everything together. So thanks for making sense out of some complicated aspects.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being so curious and inquisitive and asking such good questions.
Well, friends, fellow stargazers, we are excited to also share that we now have an email, how you can contact us, and we're starting a web page. So follow us on Podomatic. You'll be able to follow us on other multiple delivery services that have great podcasts everywhere, and tell your friends, because we hope that you find this helpful and informative. And our goal is to spread a little light as best we can.
Yeah.
Take care of yourselves.
Take good care. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.